Massive manhunt for 2 convicted killers.
The search for the 2 fugitives riveting the nation.
This story had something for everybody. It had a love interest. It had sex.
A former inmate is claiming Joyce Mitchell would regularly disappear into a stockroom for 30 minutes with convicted cop killer David Sweat.
It was a story with many twists and turns, kind of like you would want in your favorite suspense thriller. It was made for Hollywood. My name is Chelsia Rose Marcius. I am a staff reporter at the New York Daily News, and I am the author of Wild Escape, The Prison Break from Dannemora, and the Manhunt That Captured America. David Sweat was an inmate at Clinton Correctional Facility in Dannemora, and he, along with fellow inmate Richard Matt, was able to escape from the prison in June 2015. I get a call from my editor at the New York Daily News to say, look, we need another person up to cover the escape in Dannemora. So I packed my bags and I drove up about a few hundred miles to upstate New York, to the little village in this prison town where the 2 had broken out. Dannemora is a very quiet little town. Not much happens in Dannemora. All local residents could talk about were these 2 guys on the run, on the loose, potentially in their backyards.
This morning, more than 1,000 searchers are starting day 21 of the manhunt for 2 escaped killers in northern New York.
They had state troopers and corrections officers all out in the woods searching for these 2 guys. Richard Matt and David Sweat, after weeks together, split up. A Border Patrol agent finds Matt and shoots him in the head, and he's dead.
In a major breaking story late today, police killed one of the New York murderers who escaped from maximum security 21 days ago.
Everybody's now thinking, where is David Sweat? 2 days later, New York State Police Technical Sergeant Jay Cook was in Constable, and he was driving down Coveytown Road, a little small road on the side of a major field. And as he's driving down, he thinks he sees something out in the field. He gets out of the vehicle. David starts to run. The world kind of stops for Jay Cook, and he fires once, and he hits David in the back. He fires twice, and he hits him again. Nails him twice. David Sweat goes down. Several months after the escape, things start winding down. I was always thinking about David Sweat, and nobody had interviewed him. No reporter had talked to him. March of 2016, I went to 5 Points Correctional Facility near Seneca Falls, and I sat down with David Sweat. Do you want to start telling me your story? And he said yes, and we started talking. After David Sweat was captured, I interviewed him over the course of a year and a half, about 20 prison visits for more than 100 hours. David wanted his version of events to be presented in a way that people could really get a better sense of who he was. He did that knowing the good, the bad, and the ugly would all be in there. David Sweat does not regret breaking out of Clinton Correctional. He was there for 12 years, and despite what anybody else thinks, and if anybody else agrees with this, his feeling was that he had done enough time and it was time for him to be out. I think it's safe to say that he wonders, looking back, had things gone a different way, had he never broken out with Matt, would he have been able to do this by himself, and would he have been able to make it? And potentially nobody would ever find him. I think he definitely contemplates that a lot. Since writing the book, since the book has come out, David and I have very little to almost no contact. And the reason for that is I am trying to respect that he has now moved on away from the escape. He wants to leave that part of his life behind and focus on the future, focus on the present as well. And the present is with someone that he really cares about, that he's now engaged to. And that woman has a child, and the 3 of them are forming a family unit. David would like to believe that there's still hope, because this is what he has to hold on to in prison. All he feels he has is hope, hoping that he will one day be out and be free and not have to live the rest of his life behind bars. This case has definitely made its mark on Dannemora. It has permanently changed this small town. It put Dannemora on the map. There was also a lot of changes at the prison. This case put a spotlight on the correctional system in New York State. There were so many grievances against the prisons that were really not talked about until Dannemora. There was so much corruption and complacency that was not being addressed until David Sweat and Richard Matt broke out.